welcome to our wine channel, VVB. I'm Kevin Ho, your host. And, well, as you can see, I'm at a pretty cold place. It doesn't look really like Hong Kong. I'm at the balcony of my hotel, tasting some wine. So where am I? I'm actually in No, I'm not in Hungary. I'm in Ukraine right now. So what am I doing in Ukraine? I'm here to do some business. I'm starting a project that involves Ukraine, and I have to come here. I'm not here for Hunter Biden. Don't worry about that. And when I'm here in Ukraine, of course, I have to taste some Ukrainian wines, right? Over the years, I've been involved in Eastern European wines for maybe more than 10 years already. I first tasted some Ukrainian wines, let's say, around 8 to 9 years ago. I did not rate those wines. Seriously, the dry wines were pretty bad. I tasted from Inkerman, which is one of the big producers here. Very mediocre. Wasn't impressed. The one thing Ukraine was most famous at is making sweet wines, fortified wines. Fortified wines like port, like sherry style. There's one producer, historically very famous, called Massandra. However, they're located in a part of Ukraine that sort of no longer exists. It's annexed by Russia, Crimea, or as they say, Crimea. So we cannot get those wines here. I could not find any of those wines here in Kiev, because I'm right now in the capital, Kiev. This weekend I'll be going to Croatia, and I'll be visiting hopefully visiting some wine producers in Croatia, and then I'll be doing a few clips in Croatia. Hopefully, with this COVID, nobody knows what's gonna happen, but fingers crossed. So, Ukrainian wines. My first impression was Inkerman. I tried them when I was in Hong Kong, and some guys came over from the winery and I tasted the wines. They were awful, and I thought, okay, Ukrainian wines. I've sort of written off all Ukrainian wines. However, this trip, I've stayed here in Kiev for about a month now. I've been visiting a lot of top restaurants because it's really cheaper. To be frank, it's really cheaper. I mean, it's value for money. And I've been trying a lot of wines. I kept ordering Ukrainian wines by the glass. Obviously, I cannot finish a bottle by myself on my own. And I was very impressed with 4 wineries. One is called Shabo, Shabo, which is, rumor has it, is Georgian owned. Winemaker is Georgian. They make very good Safravi. I was very impressed. And then there's one called Colonist. Colonist, I think it's quite okay as a local winery. It's not world class yet, but I think it's okay. The one I was most impressed with was Don Alejandro. Very strange name, I know. Don Alejandro. It doesn't remind you of Ukraine, right? But it's a Ukrainian winery. That guy is called Alexander, the winemaker. And then somehow he calls himself Don Alejandro. But they make some really nice biologique, biodynamic wines. I mean organic wines. They claim it's biodynamic. Okay, I haven't visited the winery, but I would, because they're a little bit just a little bit outside of Odessa. But the problem with Odessa, the problem with traveling within Ukraine right now is COVID. The number of COVID cases here it's crazy. So I did not go to Odessa to check out that winery. I've been staying here in Kiev to finish my business, and then I'll leave. And I tried this winery that I found was a knockout. I think it was very impressive. It's Chateau Shiraz. Chateau Shiraz is located near the sort of Romanian, Slovakian border. So it's in the west of Ukraine, the extreme west. Historically, it's I mean that part of the region is historically it belonged to Austria-Hungary, and then it changed hands to Czechoslovakia, and then it became Ukraine. So it's a mess. Basically, it's a mess. That part. This winery is just outside of a city called. It's a bit hard to pronounce, if I'm honest. Uzhhorod, or something like that. Uzhhorod. Historically, it's Ungvar. Ungvar was a Hungarian name, and I think it's still used because that part was part of Austria-Hungary. People were Hungarian speaking, and then after Czechoslovakia took over after the First World War, and then after the Second World War, it changed hands again, and it became part of Ukraine. So now it's sort of more Ukrainian than Hungarian, I would suppose. But the Hungarians left some legacies. The grapes, funny, yeah. This Chateau Chersegi was established in 2006, but they're planting Hungarian grapes. The first one I tried from this winery was full meat, and I tried it in a very nice restaurant here called I think it's called Barvi. Yeah, I went there twice. It's one of my favorite restaurants in Kiev so far. Very modern presentation, very good food, and very cheap. And I tried the full meat from this winery, and I was blown away. I was like, wow, that full meat was better than a lot of dry tokai out there. And the price was pretty cheap, but we was very happy with the wine. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll try to get a bottle of white from this winery again, and do a program with it. So I got this wine because I'm staying in a small town outside of Kiev known as Borispil. One day I was walking around in downtown Borispil, and I found this shop selling wine, and I saw this winery's wine. So I thought, why not? I just get it. The grape is called Chersegi. Chersegi, very strange names. It's a very strange name. I don't know how to pronounce it. Chersegi, I suppose, or Chersegi, or whatever. Right, and then I did some research. This grape is a crossing of Traminer Pink with Irsaï Olivier. Irsaï Olivier, I sort of know, because I spent some time in Hungary. It's a grape with a very bad reputation. It's a cheap grape. It's better than table grape, but it makes cheap wines. Cheap aromatic whites. Put it this way. In Hungary, a lot of cheap sparklings were done with Irsaï Olivier. It's not a good grape. But the first parent, Traminer Pink, is okay, interesting. Compared with Irsaï Olivier, it's more interesting. So, Traminer, it's supposed to be one of those grapes within the Gewürztraminer family, but it's very hard to say because when Gewürztraminer was transplanted to Eastern Europe, there are a lot of confusion. Okay, so no one knows whether Traminer is the same thing as Gewürztraminer. I can only say they are sort of related. Yeah. And this wine, well, it's a simple one. It doesn't look expensive at all, and it isn't expensive. I tell you, this wine is about 3 to 4 euros, cheap. Yeah, but it is what it should be. Look from the label. The packaging is all right. From my experience, having spent so much time in Eastern Europe, I sort of know whether a winery is old Soviet-style winery or a modern winery. It's from the packaging. Come on, you just check out the alcohol level here. Those old Soviet-style wineries, they will give you a very, they will give you a ballpark. They will not give you an exact number for that alcohol level. If you see a label, the alcohol level is 9 to 14%. Yeah, it's an old Soviet-style wine, and you can chuck it. Yeah, I can guarantee you it's gonna be a bad wine. They don't even bother to print extra labels and to be more precise on the labels. But this winery, okay, it's 12.5%. At least I know, it's sort of 12.5%. It's probably not exact, but it's okay. I mean, at least they're investing in their own labels, and the packaging looks okay, and the story of the winery is pretty nice. Winemaker, later I found out, I was doing some online research, Austrian guy. So that explains a bit why I tried the Formint and thought, it's very interesting. It's a very good wine. Okay, it's from an Austrian winemaker. Now it makes more sense, huh? All right. So the vintage of this wine, 2019, you won't even ask. I mean, it's a fresh wine. You won't age this wine. I'm sorry. It's drink young available. DYA wine. Eh? Nose, very floral. Not Gewürztraminer like spicy. No. But it's floral. White flowers, yellow flowers, floral. On the palate, it's not rich at all. Okay, you know right away from nose, there's no oak treatment, no oak barrels, nothing. Not even surly aging, surly stirring, nothing. It's a simple white wine as it should be. And I think it does its job. On the palate, okay, it's a simple wine. You don't get a lot of complexity, you don't get a lot of layers. But towards the end, acidity is good. There's good acidity. And then there's a hint of minerality to it. Towards the end, you can feel the salinity of the minerality, so it makes the wine a little bit more complex. And the finish is bone dry. Also, it's a very modern, good wine, very cleanly made. When you taste it, it's very clean. The flavors are very precise. It's precisely made. I think it's a good wine. I'm actually very impressed with this winery. I tried some of the reds, not as impressed as the whites, because I tried them in the restaurants. Sometimes, when you try wines from the restaurant by the glass, sometimes it's hard to control how long they have opened that bottle. So sometimes you can't tell. They give it the benefit of doubt. So, but then the whites from this winery, hands down, some of the best white wines I tried here in Ukraine. Yeah. So check out this winery if you can find it. That's a big if. Anyway, stay tuned and come back for another episode with a special wine.